I often tell people, what you don't know about your supplements can sometimes do more harm than good. Magnesium glycinate, vitamin D3, and K2 are three of the most popular supplements out there. You see them everywhere, in grocery stores, online ads, health podcasts, all promising stronger bones, better energy, better sleep, and a healthier heart. But what if I told you that taking them together, without understanding how they work inside your body, might actually hold you back from the very benefits you're hoping for? So before you take that next dose of magnesium glycinate, vitamin D3, or K2, I want you to listen carefully, because in this video, we're going to clear up a lot of confusion, and I'm going to show you exactly what science says about combining these nutrients, when it helps, when it hurts, and how to make them truly work for your health, not against it. Now, let's start with something I see all the time, especially among men over 50. As we age, our bodies begin to lose the efficiency we once took for granted. Maybe you've noticed your energy dipping, your sleep becoming less restorative, your focus not quite as sharp, or your recovery after workouts taking longer than it used to. This isn't just getting older. Much of this has to do with how your cells handle nutrients, and magnesium, vitamin D, and K2 play massive roles in that process. Here's something fascinating. Your body is like a network of finely tuned biochemical reactions, and each one depends on the availability of specific nutrients. Magnesium alone is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions. Think about that. It helps regulate nerve signals, muscle contractions, heart rhythm, and even the way your body produces and uses energy. Without enough magnesium, your entire system runs less efficiently. But here's the catch. Magnesium doesn't work alone. It's a bit like having a key without the lock. To activate certain pathways, especially those related to bone strength, calcium balance, and cardiovascular health, you need vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 to be in the right place at the right time. The problem is, most people don't know what the right place and time actually means. Many people just take all three together, usually in the morning, maybe with breakfast or coffee, thinking they're maximizing absorption. But that's not always the case. In fact, depending on your timing, your meal composition, and even your current nutrient levels, you could be reducing absorption or creating subtle imbalances in your system that add up over time. Let me explain with a simple example. Vitamin D3 is fat soluble. That means it needs dietary fat to be absorbed properly. If you're taking it on an empty stomach or with a light meal that's mostly protein or carbohydrates, you might only be absorbing a fraction of what you think. And if that happens, the synergy between vitamin D3 and K2, which helps shuttle calcium into your bones rather than your arteries, doesn't work as efficiently. Meanwhile, magnesium glycinate, which is one of the most absorbable forms of magnesium, is gentle on your stomach, but it can also compete with certain minerals when taken simultaneously. If your timing is off, your body might prioritize one over the other, and that delicate biochemical balance gets disrupted. Now, before you start rearranging your supplement routine, let's pause for a moment, because what I want you to understand is that supplements are powerful tools, but only when used strategically. You don't need to fear them. You just need to know how they fit into your unique physiology, your age, and your daily rhythm. And for men over 50, this becomes even more important. Around this age, natural hormone levels shift, muscle mass tends to decline, bone density begins to drop, and inflammation quietly starts to creep up. It's a time when many men start to feel that something has changed, even if they can't quite put their finger on it. That's why I call this period the cellular crossroads. Your body can either continue to thrive, repairing itself efficiently, maintaining lean muscle, supporting heart health, and keeping your metabolism stable, or it can start to break down faster than it should. Nutrient timing, balance, and absorption are the keys that determine which path you take. In the next part, I'm going to show you how each of these three, magnesium glycinate, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2, actually interact inside your body. We'll talk about what happens at the cellular level, why some combinations backfire, and what you can do to make them work for you, not against you. But before we get there, here's a quick takeaway. Don't rush to take everything at once. The secret isn't in how many supplements you take. It's in how well your body can use them. Let's dig a little deeper into what's really happening inside your body when you take magnesium glycinate, vitamin D3, and K2. Because this is where the science gets fascinating and where most supplement advice on the internet completely misses the mark. I want you to imagine your body as a team. Every player has a role, but if one player tries to do everything at once, the system breaks down. Magnesium, vitamin D3, and K2 are like three team members who rely on each other. But they each have their own timing and job to do. Let's start with magnesium. This mineral is like the silent conductor in your body's orchestra. It's involved in how your cells make energy. Something called ATP, the fuel that powers your heart, muscles, and brain. Without enough magnesium, your body can't activate vitamin D properly. And that's something most people don't realize. Vitamin D3, even if you're taking a high-quality form, is inactive until it's converted by enzymes in your liver and kidneys. And those enzymes are magnesium dependent. So if you're low in magnesium, you can be swallowing vitamin D every day, but your body isn't really using it effectively. That's like filling your car with gas when the engine oil is bone dry. It just doesn't run smoothly. Now let's talk about vitamin D3 itself. You probably already know it's critical for bone strength, immunity, and even mood regulation. But it's also a key player in calcium absorption, and that's where things start to get tricky. Vitamin D3 increases the amount of calcium absorbed from your diet. That's a good thing if your calcium is being directed to the right places, like your bones and teeth. But without proper balance, that extra calcium can end up where you don't want it, your arteries, kidneys, or joints. And that's where vitamin K2 steps in. K2 acts like a traffic controller for calcium. It activates proteins that move calcium out of your blood vessels and into your bones where it belongs. Without enough K2, taking high doses of vitamin D3 could actually increase calcium buildup in soft tissues. This is one reason I always remind people, especially men over 50, not to megadose on vitamin D without understanding what's happening behind the scenes. Now, here's where timing and synergy come into play. When you take magnesium, vitamin D3, and K2 together, you're creating a cascade of interactions. In theory, that can be powerful, but in practice, your body can only handle so much at once. For example, magnesium is used in hundreds of reactions, not just for vitamin D activation. If you take it at the same time as a large dose of D3, your body might prioritize using that magnesium for vitamin D conversion, leaving less available for muscle repair, nerve function, or energy metabolism. Over time, that can lead to subtle fatigue, tension, or even sleep disturbances. And if you're taking all three nutrients together in the morning, especially on an empty stomach, the absorption dynamics shift. Vitamin D3 and K2, being fat-soluble, need dietary fat to get into your system effectively. Magnesium glycinate, on the other hand, doesn't depend on fat but can compete with calcium and other minerals when they're present. So instead of getting the best of all worlds, you may end up with each nutrient working at half power. This is why I often encourage people to stagger their intake. Give each nutrient the right window to be absorbed and used properly. That's how you unlock their full potential. Now, let's connect this to men's health, particularly after 50. This is the stage where magnesium stores naturally decline. You're also less efficient at converting vitamin D from sunlight. And if your diet isn't rich in K2, which mainly comes from fermented foods like natto or certain cheeses, your calcium balance can drift out of sync. This imbalance often shows up quietly: stiffness, slower recovery, higher blood pressure, lower energy, or even changes in bone density. And most people don't realize it's not just aging. It's a subtle nutrient imbalance that's been building for years. But the good news is your body is incredibly adaptable once you understand how to restore this balance. Through timing, the right combinations, and lifestyle, you can reverse many of these effects. You can support stronger bones, steadier energy, and sharper cognition, not by taking more supplements, but by taking them smarter. In the next part, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do that, when to take each one, what to combine it with, and how to build a simple daily rhythm that aligns with your body's natural biology. Because supplements aren't about chasing numbers on a blood test. They're about supporting how your body feels and functions every single day. And when you get this right, you'll notice it in your energy, your focus, your sleep, and your overall vitality. Now that we've talked about how these nutrients work together inside your body, let's get into something much more practical: how and when to take them for the best results. Because once you get the timing and the rhythm right, you'll notice your body starts responding differently. You'll sleep deeper, feel more steady energy through the day, and your overall resilience improves. Here's the truth. Most people don't need more supplements. They just need to use what they're already taking in a smarter way. Timing is everything. Let's start with magnesium glycinate. This is one of my favorite forms of magnesium because it's highly absorbable and gentle on your stomach. Glycinate means it's bound to the amino acid glycine, which has a calming effect on the nervous system. That's why many people who take it notice that their sleep improves, their muscles feel less tense, and even their mood becomes more stable. But here's something I recommend. Take magnesium glycinate in the evening, about 1 to 2 hours before bed. Why? Because magnesium plays a direct role in helping your body relax. It regulates melatonin, the hormone that helps you fall asleep, and it calms the excitatory signals in your brain that keep you alert during the day. When taken before bedtime, magnesium helps smooth that transition from alertness to rest. Another reason timing matters is absorption. Magnesium can compete with other minerals like calcium, zinc, or iron when taken together. So if you're taking a multivitamin or a calcium supplement, spacing your magnesium out by at least 2 hours can make a real difference in how much your body actually uses. Now, let's move to vitamin D3 and K2, the dynamic duo for bone, immune, and cardiovascular health. These two are fat-soluble, meaning your body absorbs them best when you take them with a meal that contains healthy fats. That could be avocado, eggs, salmon, olive oil, or nuts. So if you typically have your main meal around lunchtime, that's a perfect time to take D3 and K2 together. The dietary fat helps them pass through your digestive tract and enter your bloodstream efficiently. Taking them in the morning on an empty stomach, with just coffee or toast, won't give you the same benefit. I often recommend pairing D3 and K2 in a single dose after your largest meal of the day. That's when bile acids are most active, helping fat-soluble vitamins absorb more effectively. Now, there's another subtle detail I want you to understand. Vitamin D3 and K2 don't just work on bones. They influence how calcium moves throughout your body. D3 increases calcium absorption from food, and K2 directs that calcium to your bones. That's why they should be taken together, not separately. Without K2, D3 can increase calcium in the blood, but that calcium might not end up where it belongs. This combination becomes especially important for men over 50. When bone remodeling, the natural process of replacing old bone with new bone, starts to slow down. Supporting that process with D3 and K2 helps maintain density and strength, reducing the risk of silent bone loss over time. Now, here's how it all fits into your day in a way that aligns with your body's natural rhythm mornings. Focus on hydration, movement, and light exposure. Natural sunlight helps your body produce vitamin D, but even if you supplement, morning sunlight resets your circadian rhythm, improving energy and sleep quality later. Avoid taking all your supplements here unless you're having a substantial breakfast with healthy fats. Midday or lunch, take vitamin D3 and K2 together with your meal. This is when digestion is strong and fat absorption is optimal. Evening, take magnesium glycinate 1 to 2 hours before bed. Make it part of your wind down routine, perhaps after dinner, when your body starts to shift from alert mode to repair mode. That's the simplest, most effective rhythm for most people. It supports your biology rather than working against it. Now, let's talk about lifestyle, because supplements alone don't build health. They support the foundations you create with what you eat, how you move, and how you rest. Magnesium, D3, and K2 all depend on these daily choices to work their best. For example, exercise, particularly weight-bearing movement like walking, resistance training, or cycling, helps stimulate bone strength and improves how your body utilizes vitamin D and K2. Meanwhile, a diet rich in leafy greens, legumes, and fermented foods can boost your natural magnesium and K2 intake, meaning you may rely less on supplements over time. And perhaps most overlooked, stress. Chronic stress depletes magnesium levels rapidly. It's one of the reasons so many people today are deficient without realizing it. Managing stress through deep breathing, time outdoors, or even 5 minutes of stillness each day helps you conserve those critical nutrients. So remember, it's not just what you take, it's how you live around it. Supplements amplify your lifestyle. They can't replace it. In the next part, I'm going to share how to tell if your current routine is working, the subtle signs your body gives when magnesium, D3, and K2 are out of balance, and what adjustments can help bring you back into alignment. Because your body is always talking to you. The key is knowing how to listen. Now that we've covered when and how to take these nutrients, let's talk about something equally important. How to know whether your body is actually in balance. Because the truth is, your body is constantly giving you feedback. The challenge is that most people don't know how to interpret the signals. When magnesium, vitamin D3, and K2 are out of sync, it doesn't always show up as a sudden, dramatic symptom. It's often subtle, small things that build up over time. You might start feeling more restless at night, or you wake up feeling like you haven't slept deeply. Maybe your muscles cramp more easily after exercise, or you notice your energy dipping halfway through the day. These are the body's quiet ways of saying, I'm running low on something essential. Let's start with magnesium. Low magnesium levels can show up as muscle tightness, eyelid twitching, headaches, or even heart palpitations that seem to come and go. You might also notice feeling more anxious or irritable, even when nothing in your day has changed. That's because magnesium helps regulate the nervous system. It's like the body's natural brake pedal. When it's low, everything feels a little overstimulated. For men over 50, magnesium deficiency can also contribute to slower recovery after exercise, fatigue, and increased inflammation. This is one of those nutrients that doesn't get the spotlight it deserves, yet it quietly influences how you feel on a daily basis. Now, vitamin D3 deficiency often appears in more diffuse ways. Things like persistent fatigue, low mood, reduced immunity, or weaker muscles. You might find that your resilience against colds or infections isn't what it used to be. Vitamin D affects gene expression in nearly every cell of your body, including immune cells. So when levels drop, your entire system can feel off. But here's an interesting connection. When you're low in magnesium, You're often functionally low in vitamin D2, even if your blood test looks borderline normal. Because as we discussed earlier, magnesium is required to activate vitamin D into its usable form. Then comes vitamin K2, perhaps the most underappreciated of the three. The signs of low K2 are often hidden for years. It's not something you feel immediately, but over time, low K2 contributes to calcium being deposited in the wrong places, the arteries, kidneys, and joints, instead of being built into bones and teeth. That's why I often say K2 is the quiet protector of your cardiovascular system. If you've ever seen someone with stiff joints, reduced flexibility, or early signs of calcification on medical scans, those can all be clues that calcium regulation isn't balanced. And K2 is often part of that equation. So what do you do when you suspect things are off balance? The first step isn't panic, it's awareness. Start by observing your patterns, how you sleep, how your energy fluctuates, how your body recovers after physical activity, and even how your mood responds to stress. These are windows into how your cells are functioning. If you notice several of the signs we just talked about, it's worth having your vitamin D levels tested. I usually recommend people aim for a moderate, steady range, not too low, not excessively high. You don't need mega doses to feel your best. Next, take a look at your magnesium intake. Are you getting enough through food, leafy greens, legumes, nuts, seeds, and whole grains? Even with a supplement, your dietary foundation matters. And if you're someone who drinks coffee or alcohol regularly, you may be losing more magnesium than you realize, since both increase urinary loss. Then, for K2, consider where it's coming from. Fermented foods like natto, aged cheese, and sauerkraut are great sources, though they're not common in every diet. If you're not eating those regularly, a supplement containing both D3 and K2 in a balanced ratio can be a smart approach. And here's something many people overlook. Balance isn't only about nutrients, it's about timing and consistency. Taking your supplements at the same time each day, with the right type of meal, helps your body maintain steady nutrient levels rather than bouncing between highs and lows. Now, if you've been taking these three together and haven't felt much difference, don't give up. Sometimes your body needs time to reestablish equilibrium, especially if you've been deficient for years. You might start noticing small changes first, like deeper sleep, more stable energy, or improved focus. That's your body's way of saying, thank you. I can finally do what I'm supposed to do. And the best part, when you restore that internal balance, it doesn't just affect one area of health. It creates a ripple effect, better metabolism, steadier mood, improved circulation, and even better cognitive clarity. That's the power of cellular harmony. In the next part, I'll bring everything together. We'll talk about how to build a long-term approach that supports healthy aging, sustainable energy, and cellular protection. Because supplements can help, but the real magic happens when you create a rhythm your body can thrive in. Day after day, year after year. Now that you understand how these nutrients work, how to take them, and what signs to watch for, let's talk about something I think is far more important: building a rhythm your body can sustain for the long haul. Because your goal shouldn't be just to fix deficiencies. The real goal is to create an environment inside your body where health naturally thrives. Think of your body as a garden. If the soil is dry, no amount of fertilizer will help until you restore moisture. Magnesium, vitamin D3, and K2 are like nutrients that enrich your soil, but they can only flourish if your overall lifestyle supports them. Let's start with consistency. Your cells love predictability. When you give them nutrients at roughly the same time each day, they adapt, they optimize, and they function more efficiently. That's why I always say, it's not what you do once in a while that matters most. It's what you do consistently over time. So build a simple rhythm that's easy to maintain. Take your vitamin D3 and K2 after your main meal, perhaps lunch, when healthy fats are present. Take magnesium glycinate in the evening, about an hour before bed, to help your body unwind. Over a few weeks, you'll likely notice deeper sleep, more steady energy, and even smoother recovery after activity. But here's where we take it one step further. Supplements are just one piece of the health equation. What amplifies their impact is how you live your day. Start with light. Sunlight in the morning, even 10 minutes, signals your brain to produce serotonin, which later converts to melatonin at night. This natural rhythm enhances the way magnesium supports relaxation and sleep. Then, movement. You don't need to train like an athlete. Gentle daily movement, walking, stretching, bodyweight exercises helps your muscles use calcium more effectively and keeps your bones strong. When you move, you stimulate the same pathways that vitamin D3 and K2 support internally. Next, nutrition. Fill your plate with color, greens, berries, legumes, whole grains, healthy fats. Nature already provides the cofactors that help these nutrients work together. Leafy greens add magnesium, healthy fats improve D3 absorption, and fermented foods add natural K2. Supplements should fill the gaps, not replace the foundation. And perhaps the most overlooked factor of all, stress management. Chronic stress silently depletes magnesium, disrupts sleep, and throws off your hormonal rhythm. It's like draining the battery faster than you can recharge it. So create space each day to reset. Through breathing, mindfulness, gratitude, or simply time outdoors, your nervous system will thank you. Now, let's circle back to why this matters so much for men over 50. This stage of life is often when subtle changes start to compound. Muscle recovery slows, energy fluctuates, and inflammation quietly increases. But these aren't inevitable signs of aging. They're signs your cells need better support. When you get your nutrient timing right, your cells perform better. When you manage stress, they repair faster. And when you move and eat in a way that supports your biology, you slow the very processes that make you feel older than you are. What I want you to remember is that longevity isn't about adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. Magnesium, vitamin D3, and K2 are tools that can help you do that, but they're only as effective as the daily choices that surround them. So don't think of this as a temporary supplement routine. Think of it as a partnership between you and your body. One where you listen, adjust, and nourish over time. Because your body is constantly working for you, even when you don't notice it. It's repairing, rebuilding, and protecting you every single day. Give it what it needs at the right time, in the right way, and it will reward you with resilience, energy, and vitality that lasts. So before you take that next capsule or tablet, pause for a moment and remember your body isn't a machine that needs fuel. It's a living system that needs harmony. Magnesium glycinate, vitamin D3, and K2 can be incredibly powerful allies, but only when used with knowledge and intention. You don't have to overhaul your life to feel the difference. Start small. Adjust your timing. Pay attention to how your body feels over the next few weeks. You'll start noticing that your energy becomes more stable, your sleep deeper, and your overall sense of well-being more grounded. That's what real health feels like. Not a quick fix, but a steady return to balance. So, if there's one takeaway from this conversation, it's this: don't just take supplements. Understand them. Respect how they work, listen to your body, and let science guide your choices. Because the best medicine isn't in a bottle. It's in the wisdom of using what nature already gave you wisely and consistently.